Hi there, I'm Peter from MaintMaster. Today I'm going to talk about MaintMaster integration services and how we integrate MaintMaster to other systems. So, what do we mean by integration? Well, integration is all about share information between systems in an automated flow. One of the benefits with integrations is that it keeps your data updated and correct, and any data in MaintMaster can be integrated with other systems. It's also easy to integrate with MaintMaster. And because the data can be converted and adapted, it really doesn't matter which system you have in the other end. MaintMaster can be integrated with any other system. With integrations, you can also automate manual processes within MaintMaster to create actions from rules and logics. The integration infrastructure is divided into different areas. First, on the right side here, we have the systems you want to integrate to, like the ERP system, the OE system, storage system, or other systems. In the middle, we have the integration server to host the integration. This server is normally hosted by you as a customer, but it can also be hosted by us at MaintMaster if you buy the integration as a service package. The server contains a communication hub where we send and receive the data in XML files, CSV files, SQL Server, or APIs. It also contains the Windows service that runs the integration, the SQL Server to store the data, and a service log. The Windows service communicates with the MaintMaster cloud to update or collect the data. So, what can be integrated with MaintMaster? Well, as I said earlier, all the data in MaintMaster can be integrated with other systems. And here is some examples of what you can integrate. You can export jobs, or you can create or update jobs. You can import spare data, allocations, and balances. You can import supplier data, purchase orders, journal values from site objects, financial transactions, and employee data from an HR system. And you can also automate manual processes within MaintMaster to create actions. Before we can start an integration project, there are some decisions that need to be made. First, you need to set up a project team with the stakeholders that need to participate. You need to decide the communication type. You need to decide the location of the server, or if you want to use the integration as a service, where we host the server. You need to decide what to integrate, the direction of the data, and which system is master for each data, and also how often to send or receive the data. You also need to know who is responsible for the data in the different systems. To set up the integration, we need access to your server with some solution like VPN and RTP or whatever you prefer. On the server, we need the internet access, we need permissions to transfer files, install software, and also handle Windows services. On your server, we will install 2 instances of the integration Windows service, one for production and one for the sandbox. The SQL server that is used for the integration can either be installed locally on the same server or in a dedicated SQL server. There we will set up 2 SQL databases, one production and one sandbox. The configuration of the integration is set up within MaintMaster and it's based on actions that we set up in a flow, and the flow will be executed on the specific interval that we choose. When we set up the integration within MaintMaster, we have this interface where we specify the name of the integration. We set up the different connections like the integration server connection, the import and export folders for the XML files if we are using those. And also if we use web API, we set up the settings for that. Then we create the different actions, which could be export, processing data, or import data. And when we have the actions, we will set them up in a flow. The flow will be executed in the order that we set up here. And when we have the flows, then we start a Windows service and the integration is up and running. Simple as that. I will now give you some example of integration flows that we set up. In the first example here, we export jobs and receive job reports from another system. The first action is to export the job selection to the database, to prepare the data and export the XML file to a folder. And this is scheduled to happen every hour. Then when we receive an XML file in the import folder, we import it to the database, do some processing, and import and update MaintMaster. And this is scheduled to run every minute. In the second example, we import spare data from the ERP to MaintMaster. When we receive an XML file in the import folder, we import it to the database, we do some processing, and then we import it to MaintMaster. And this flow is scheduled to run once every day. In the third example, we export spare parts transaction from MaintMaster to the ERP. The first action here is to export the selection of transaction to the database. We do some processing in the database. Then we export the XML file to the export folder where the ERP can pick it up. And this is scheduled to run every minute. It doesn't have to be more complex than this to integrate to MaintMaster, but we can also set up more complex or advanced solutions. What do you need in terms of technical requirements to set up an integration? Well, the integration requires Windows Server 2008 or newer, but 2016 is recommended for security reasons, and it can be hosted as physical, virtual, in Azure, or at MaintMaster integration as a service. The SQL Server also needs to be 2008 or newer, and you can also use the Express version, or you can host it Azure or in SQL Hotel, or you can host it as MaintMaster integration as a service. For hardware requirements, we use the Microsoft recommendations for each version. You as a customer is responsible for the maintenance of the servers, but of course, if you use the integration as a service, we will maintain the servers. And to be able to install, support, and update your integration, we will need permanent VPN access and the proper permissions on the server. So that's all I had to say about the MaintMaster integration services today. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.